Hello, welcome back to the Nine Sports Podcast Hockey Edition. I'm your host, Maya Smith. We are back for our second ever episode, and I'm so glad that you guys are joining me today. Today, we're going to be talking all things Rivalry Series, including Team Canada. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Team USA's first sweep of the series, unfortunately, and if the gold medal is truly out of reach already for Team Canada at the Olympics. Plus, we're back from the international break with a ton of games this week in the PWHL and between now and Christmas, including the first two takeover games this week, Halifax and Chicago. I'm actually watching the Halifax game right now on the other screen. We've got a brand new segment coming up, and at the end, we'll hear from Hannah Miller about playing in Vancouver, her expectations for the rest of 2025, and an update on her status of whether or not she would be able to join Team Canada at the Olympics. But first, we have a new face today. We've got a special guest joining us, Elisha Côté. She is the Ottawa Charge beat reporter with the Ice Garden, and you may know her from her awesome coverage of the Charge and her NHL video game playthroughs on our YouTube channel. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good. That was quite the intro. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I just powered right through that. Well, I'm really happy to have you. I didn't tell you this before, but I was actually talking to the Ottawa Charge media guy yesterday because they were in Vancouver. And I mentioned, because you always speak very highly of him and said he's very nice. So I mentioned you, and he was so excited to hear your name. And he was like, she's so good at this. So I thought you would want to hear that.
Wow, we love JF.
Yeah.
Shout out to JF.
He's great. I kind of felt bad because I went up to him after the game and he was trying to take down the giant sign that they transport from rink to rink that has the banner on it that they put behind them in press conferences all by himself. And I was
no.
So I was standing there awkwardly. But yes, he was very friendly. Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. We're gonna get started with the number one at the 9, which is 60 seconds on our top headline of the week. So let's add the countdown, and here we go. So, Team Canada dropped both rivalry series games this past week in Edmonton, losing 9-2 on Wednesday and 4-1 on Saturday. This is the first time in rivalry series history that the US has swept the series, and with the Olympics less than 2 months away, it might be time for Canadian fans to start panicking. Is the gold medal already out of reach? It depends on who you ask. This week, Jeremy, one of the writers at the Ice Garden, published both parts of an article about why Canadians don't need to panic. In it, he said, I know that the feeling right now is that Canada looks overwhelmed in nearly every facet, and once again, it's hard to blame anyone who has those feelings. But it's important to remember that Canada boasts a high share of the best talent in the world. The only two PWHL MVPs are Canadian, both Defenders of the Year winners were Canadian, both Goalies of the Year were Canadian, and both Forward of the Year winners were Canadian. 7 of the top 10 point getters in the PWHL were Canadian, and half of the top 10 in PWHL goals were Canadian. The best league in women's hockey is filled with elite Canadian talent. I was originally in the I'm not really that concerned camp when the rivalry series started. Canada made some interesting roster decisions. They didn't bring certain players, so I was like, we're fine. But now that we've seen this potential Olympic roster get lit up 13-3 in 2 games, I do have a few concerns. Poulin said she's not worried. She doesn't equate the rivalry series with the Olympics. What do you think? As a fellow Canadian, how are you feeling?
Is Canada cooked? That is the question. And I mean, I do agree with what Poulin has to say. I think it's different. I don't think you're going to see the same level of effort from every player in the rivalry series that you're going to see in the Olympics. But I would say I'm worried. If they can't play the way they usually do and keep playing the way that they played in the rivalry series, I would be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't even make the gold medal game. Because there's
Absolutely
a lack of urgency, a lack of structure. I went to the game in Buffalo. Took my girlfriend for her birthday. I was like, let's go watch Team Canada.
It'll be great.
It'll be great. The minute the game was over, we're like, we need to go back to Canada.
We need to get across the border right now.
This is not good. everything's falling apart. The bridge is next. So it was not good. And like watching that game, I mean, they didn't have the full roster that game. Kaylee Osborne was in net. Usually you'd have Anne Renee Desbiens or Emirates Smashmeyer. But even when they had those goalies in, they were still letting in, like you said, 13 goals. And that can't happen. They're not going to win the gold medal if they keep doing that.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of feel like if these were really close games, even if they had lost 4-1 every single game of the rivalry series, then I think I would be more along the lines of, oh, they just like weren't playing as well as they know that they can. But especially that 9-2 score or whatever it was, where the only goals you're getting are from Sophie Jakes, and you let in 9 goals across both goaltenders, like they played Mashmeyer and Desbiens that day. I definitely have some concerns, and I totally agree with you that if they play the way that they played here, I think we could see Sweden, maybe Finland beating them as well.
I don't think I ever would have thought this was going to happen. It just, I always, maybe this is just the way I grew up. Canada's always winning. That I just think
Me
that
too.
they're going to win. And then I'm watching them and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I feel like I'm watching the Ottawa Charge just like falling apart. But we have Poulin. Like, what are we doing? They just can't score. But yet they have the best defenders and the best goalies. I couldn't even pinpoint what was going wrong because it just felt like it was all falling apart.
I feel the same way, and that was the most concerning thing to me was the goaltending. Obviously, Phillips and Frankel are two of the best goaltenders in the world. You get to see Phillips play every single night. I saw her last night in person, and I was just like, this is like top caliber goaltending. But usually in the past, where if Canada couldn't score or they didn't have great defensemen, they had goaltending, and that was their like step up above all these other teams. And now I'm a little concerned that we don't even have that for the Olympics.
Canada, I don't know the exact stats on this, but I believe they're a lot older of a team. At least their stars are older. The US is having young players like Leila Edwards, Abby Murphy come in, and they're just like lighting it up. And
Yeah.
Canada doesn't have that. We're seeing, I mean, no shade to Jocelyn Larocque. I love her, but like she's old and compared for a hockey player, and she's not going to be as fast as some of the American players. And I don't know if it's just like Canada hasn't moved along at the same pace as America. You can't even say that it's because they haven't been practicing as much because of the PWHL, because it's the same for the US.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what's going on.
I agree with you. That was my next question actually. I was gonna say, do you think that Jocelyn Larocque should make the team?
No.
No. Interesting. I agree with you, but
I think she's a great defender, and I love watching her in Ottawa. But like, why is someone like Ashton Bell, who had some of the best stats in the Walter Cup finals, not on the team? That doesn't make
absolutely.
sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think especially we saw like the US brought a huge roster to the rivalry series and they dressed all of them or most of them. The rosters that these teams will be bringing to the Olympics are a lot smaller. And if they had the room, I would say bring her and play her like third line so you have that like stability or whatever, but you're not putting her out against these super speedy players. But I don't know that they even have that much like space to bring her, which is it sucks. And like I feel for Troy Ryan in this situation because there are so many legendary Canadian players on this team who like you and I both grew up watching these players and you want to see them go to the Olympics because they always have. But at the same time, if you don't start making space for like the Chloe Primorano group and stuff, then I don't know. I think you're gonna get beaten by the teams that do.
I definitely agree with that. It feels like we're almost stuck in a
Mhm.
generation. Like I feel like I've watched the same Team Canada since I was 10.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously there are some older players that are still really good, like Poulin, Spooner. They
Mhm.
can still play at an elite level, and I think they should make the team 100%. But some players, I just I think it's time we let them go.
I agree. So we should hear about the Canadian Olympic roster in early January. We'll see what Troy Ryan and Gina Kingsbury decide is the winning formula, and then we can fully we can fully break it down and panic. But while the rivalry series was happening and also the Euro Cup of hockey was happening, there was a 10-day break in the PWHL, which for the team that I cover, the Vancouver Goldeneyes, was much needed to try and learn how to play together as a team after being a brand new team. So this week, the PWHL is back in action and they're packing it full of games. We're recording on Wednesday night and there are 3 games tonight. We are getting the takeover tour this week in both Halifax and in Chicago. The Halifax game, which will be done when you're listening to this, is between the Toronto Sceptres and the Montreal Victoire. And the Sceptres have I had originally written that they had 2 players from Atlantic Canada because that's who they like provided for the media availability. And then I remember that Blair Turnbull, like the Queen of Toronto, is also from there, and both Troy Ryan and Corey Chevry are from there. But on the media availability this week that they made available for everyone in the world on Zoom, Allie Munroe and Maggie Connors both talked about what it is like to be able to play hockey in the Maritimes, the first professional women's hockey game coming to Halifax. So let's hear what they had to say.
I'm incredibly excited. I think this is something that I've always been hoping for in the past few years. And so for the PWHL and a game to finally go to the East Coast and for us to be lucky enough to be a part of it is really exciting. And I know I've been counting down the days to this game next week. And I think just to be able to get the product of the PWHL in person on the East Coast is going to be really special because I know we have a lot of incredible, passionate fans out there. So I'm excited to play in front of them and connect with them when we get there.
Yeah, Maggie kind of worded it correctly. And just for me, I think I have a lot of family and friends there. So I'm really excited to share the PWHL with them. But like Maggie said, all the amazing fans. I know there's a ton of Toronto, Montreal fans down there. So I think that will be a really special game, not only for us, but for all the people on the East Coast. I know there's a lot of women's sports fans, women's hockey fans. So I'm excited we have the privilege to get to play in front of them.
So, Elisha, you have been talking a lot in our internal channels with the Ice Garden about bringing a team to Halifax. You are totally in support of it. We know that the PWHL likes to experiment with where their new expansion teams are going to be. Through this takeover tour, we've seen that with Vancouver and Seattle, and now we're expecting 2 to 4 potentially new teams this off season. So talk to me about Halifax, why it's a great market, why you're all about this.
Yeah, so if you've never been to Atlantic Canada, it's kind of got a vibe that I just can't describe to you. Some of the nicest people there. I have family there. My dad's actually was born in Amherst. Shout out Amherst. That's where Carly Jackson was from. And when there is something in the Maritimes, they're dedicated and support it so passionately. And yes, the population is small. If you look at the population in Halifax compared to major cities that they've had the takeover tour, like St. Louis and Halifax, you'd be like, why the heck would they put a team in Halifax? But they have a near 11,000 seat arena, and they had instant sellouts. I think the game that's happening tonight sold out in 20 minutes.
That's what they were saying today, yeah.
Which is insane, but also
Totally.
I totally expected it. Even their major junior hockey team, the Halifax Mooseheads, they average at about 8,000 fans a game, and that's junior hockey,
Yeah.
probably some of the highest attendance in Canada for the CHL. And they're just so dedicated and passionate. I went to the World Juniors when they were there, and crazy atmosphere. I mean, probably the most fun hockey game I've ever been at. So it's not even just the ticket sales. It's the atmosphere and the dedication that these people in the Maritimes will give to a team. I think you can't replicate anywhere else. And that's why I think they should get one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I have only been to Halifax for about 2 days. It was in the dead of winter. And I still could like tell even as I was shivering and like just trying to stay in my hotel basically, like this is a special place. I think on the media availability this week they're talking about the young girls who are playing hockey in Halifax, minor hockey in Halifax and all across Nova Scotia, the camps that PWHL players have been running there. I think Blair runs one, and I think that they mentioned somebody else. Um, it just sounds like it's like this up and coming market, although I'm sure there's people who are like our age and older who played. Um, but yeah, it just really sounds like they've embraced the idea of having this team. As you said, the rink, um, already having that infrastructure would be wonderful. And that's a pretty good size as well for the PWHL. Like we could definitely see them sell that out a couple more times if they do have a regular season team there. I think that would be pretty cool. I think the travel from Vancouver to Halifax and such might not be that enjoyable for the players, but we did see they did that with the NSL this season, the new Northern Super League. Both Vancouver and Halifax have teams, so it's definitely doable. And yeah, it just seems like a fantastic market.
Also, arena discussion has been quite the popular topic this year, and I think the arena in Halifax is like maybe not as perfect. I think Place Bell is like the most perfect arena for the PWHL, but maybe second to best, I would say, is the arena in downtown Halifax. It's perfect attendance. It's like right downtown. You can take the ferry over from Dartmouth, grab a bite to eat at a restaurant nearby, get to the game. Walking up that hill in the winter.
True. But I love how you have our whole itinerary planned out for when we go.
Oh, we're going? Okay.
Oh, yes. Once I can save up enough money to fly across this country, we can do it. But yeah, so Halifax will have another game as well. So another chance to sell out and show the PWHL that they're a great location for one of the many teams that will be getting this offseason. Ottawa, your team, is taking on Minnesota in Chicago. It's their second matchup of the year. Notably, of course, they played in the Walter Cup final last year. Disastrous outcome for anyone who doesn't live in the province in the state of Minnesota. But how are you feeling about this game and the season so far as our expert?
Okay, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but we can call me one. Honestly, Ottawa has not been good. And not good enough, at least. And I might flip-flop on what I'm gonna say. Like, you might ask me in a month and I might have a different answer, because that's exactly what happened last season. That's how this league works.
Yeah.
There have been flashes of like really good play by Ottawa. Their game against Vancouver and Ottawa, like, I was so impressed with how they played. I saw Vancouver warming up and I thought they were gonna get destroyed. Just like the aura from Vancouver, I was afraid. But the consistency, I mean, this league isn't consistent in general, but their consistency is like, I feel like I'm watching a different team every game. And in this league, that catches up to you really fast.
Absolutely.
You lose a few games and like, there you are, you're at the bottom of the standings. They've struggled to control play a lot, I've noticed, for full games, and too often they're chasing, it feels like, in the game. Right now, one of their top players, Gabby Hughes, is out with an injury too. So that's not going to help them. I thought they played okay against Vancouver last night. It was a 3-1 win for Vancouver, but Anna Shokina finally got her first PWHL goal, so that was a highlight.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was. I was like, that was like a wicked pass.
It was so good. So good. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, and it was interesting because for most of the game, I was like, ooh, this Ottawa team does not look super stable, I would say. Like, Jen Gardner had a really beautiful goal off a turnover. There were so many turnovers last night because it was like turnover team A against turnover team B, because Vancouver has a lot of issues with that right now. But in the post game, Carla McLeod said that she really felt like about halfway through the game, Ottawa found their footing and kind of like played at the level that she's used to seeing. And I agree. I think if they hadn't gone down a couple of goals, it could have been a very different game in the third period, because I think Vancouver kind of let off the gas a little bit. They're not really used to playing with the lead. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. But also last year, I don't think that any of us expected them to make it to the finals. So you just never know.
I feel like that constantly when I'm going to a Charge game. I'm like, they're going to win 8-1. They're going to lose 8-1. It's going to go to triple overtime. I don't know.
Exactly.
But the last game they played against Minnesota was really bad. Now, I will give the team some grace. Okay, that was the first game after hearing about Carla McLeod's diagnosis with breast cancer. So an emotional, heavy game. Carla McLeod's not there as she was getting treatment. But it's still like, it was not, it just, I think it was like 20 seconds in.
Mm-hmm.
And the goals, they weren't even that good. I just felt like breakdowns everywhere. It was not the best. So I'm kind of worried. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they were able to turn it around, because like we said, this league is kind of
all up and
very unpredictable.
Totally. And they have another game tonight in Seattle, back to back with travel, which is crazy. And then they'll go to Chicago. So it could be a very different story the next time we talk. But now we're going to bring in a new segment for the show that I'm calling Top Shelf Predictions. So I texted Alyssa after last week's episode and asked her to give us a prediction for the last game of the Rivalry Series. And this is what she said. 6-3 Canada win. Pooh goes sicko mode, which I can hear in Alyssa's voice. I don't know if you can hear it in Alyssa's voice.
Definitely.
But obviously that didn't happen. But what do you think? Like, I think it easily could have been the case.
I think it could have been the case, but like, I don't think I would have predicted that.
Gotcha.
And I don't think I will predict that until they prove me otherwise. Like, totally. I'm done predicting.
Great point. Okay, so I did ask you to bring a prediction for this week, though. Let's hear it.
My prediction is kind of spicy.
Okay.
I'm going to throw in some spice. I think there's going to be a trade in PWHL.
Wow. Before the end of the month. Is that what you're thinking, or?
Yeah, let's just say end of the month. Why not?
Okay. Cool. And do you have any thoughts about like who or where?
I think it's going to be Ottawa, because if there's one thing Mike Hirschfeld loves doing, it's doing a trade.
Yeah.
He's not afraid of a trade. But I also don't really know Seattle and Vancouver. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised to see Seattle do a trade, maybe.
I love this. This is great. Okay. I think that's great, because I agree with you. And I think that by the end of this period before Christmas, we're going to have a quite solid understanding of where all these teams are. Like, we don't have people have gotten settled in with their teams. There's been travel. There have been like some times where teams have played the same team multiple times by now. So it's a great time to say, okay, well, this is not working, or this is like the one piece that we really need, or if somebody's injured for a long period of time or something like that.
With how like compressed the season is, like the number of games and how tight the standings get, I don't think you can wait around until February or even like late January. Like, you're gonna start to be out of the playoff picture by then, I think, already. So I think if you want to shake up your lineup, if Ottawa's like, okay, let's do another blockbuster, I wouldn't be surprised. And honestly, I love a good shakeup. So
same.
I think I'm hoping for one.
And honestly, I might do a story on this, but we have seen so many players who are benefiting from a trade in the last couple of years. Kristen Campbell had a fantastic game last night. She just expressed how much she loves playing in Vancouver. It was very clear that this is where she wants to be. in the game that's on right now, we just saw Anna Shelbin get her first PWHL goal on the team that she was traded to, with Toronto. And so, yeah, I like it. Let's do that. We'll see in the new year. Next episode is going to be a roundtable with myself and Howard and Jackie and Kathleen, the other host of this podcast. But in January, we will revisit this with whoever's the guest and see what they think. I'm so excited. Thank you. On Sunday, I had the chance to talk to Vancouver Goldeneyes forward Hannah Miller after practice, and I asked her about playing in Vancouver. She is born and raised in BC, what she expects from the team between now and the Christmas break, and also about her status with IIHF, because she originally played for Team China as a dual citizen in the last Olympics, I believe, but now she is looking to join Team Canada again, as China isn't accepting those dual citizens on the team. So let's listen to what she had to say. We haven't really gotten a chance to chat to you about how it's been playing in your hometown and in front of your home fans. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously incredible. I just feel like, I guess, a different sense of pride. Playing for a team, representing the city of Vancouver where I grew up is, just a lot of emotion and meaning there. It's kind of where I obviously fell in love with the game when I was a little kid and grew up playing here. So, it's pretty special for me and just happy to be a part of it.
So you've got 2 games left until the holidays. What do you want to see from the team playing Ottawa first, who you guys have already seen? What do you kind of expect for these next couple?
Yeah, I think just keep building. Obviously last game against New York was nice to get a win and get some goals there. I feel like we got a few bounces that kind of went our way, but new team, kind of knew everything. So I think it's just continuing to build on chemistry and team systems and putting everything in place. And I think it'll be huge for us to kind of end on a good note going into like a little bit of a break here for the holidays.
Totally. And has having this week basically full of practice been helpful to kind of start cementing those systems, finding that chemistry?
For sure. I think anytime you get some more time and more reps in, obviously with a pro schedule and a lot of travel, sometimes the practice time is a little bit limited. So when you can use these kind of international breaks to your advantage, I think that's huge. And but at the same time, really looking forward to having the girls back tomorrow and having our full group back together for a skate.
Awesome. And then I would be remiss to ask, because we've just seen the Rivalry Series games in the international break, do you have any update on your status to join Team Canada at all?
No update yet. Still waiting. So
Gotcha.
We'll see what happens.
So just before we end off the episode, let's say that the IIHF pulls through and they let her join Team Canada. Do you think that she makes the roster?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I
like
think they could use a shakeup.
I agree. Yeah, I think she's off to a little bit of a slower start this season with Vancouver, but she's physical. She knows how to play well at the international level. So I agree. Hopefully we'll get to see her. But as she said, no update. And we are getting quite close to the Olympics, 50 days away when you're listening to this episode. So thank you so much, Elisha, for joining me. I loved having you here. It's so fun to chat. And thank you for your prediction. Thank you for all of your thoughts on the Ottawa Charge. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we end off the episode?
I do, actually. There is something.
Okay.
Sani Ahola is expected to make her first career start tonight for the Ottawa Charge. I also love a goalie debut, so this will be exciting to watch. And yeah, we'll see how Sani does.
I'm super excited for her, and her gear is like maybe the best in the league. I saw it last night and I was like,
she designed it herself.
She did? That's amazing. That's really cool. Well, yes, you will know when you're listening to this if she got a chance to play and how the game went. But yes, we're really excited for her. And yeah, if you want to follow more hockey coverage all throughout the year, don't forget to subscribe to the Ice Garden and follow us on socials at the Ice Garden. Also, check out the soccer and basketball episodes every week on this podcast, and subscribe to the 9 Sports, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.